to slow down. Newswatch starts right now. Some residents of East Palestine, Ohio, who were forced to leave their homes after February's toxic train derailment say they still feel like their lives are in limbo. Good evening, I'm Juliana Colant.
And I'm Reese Thompson. Welcome to Newswatch. Residents are voicing their frustration with how recovery efforts are going and the compensation they were promised.
Some residents say even though Norfolk Southern has been helping them financially, it's been a hassle and more needs to be done. One resident, Zuza Jean, says her home still remains so contaminated. Herself, her children, and pets are still staying at a hotel near the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. Jean says their assistance center set up by Norfolk Southern is an hour away from where her family is living at the moment. And she says getting reimbursements hasn't been easy.
Depends on who you are, what day of the week it is, which way the wind's blowing. Some people are getting turned down for food. Some people are being reimbursed for food. Some people have a limit for gas. Some people don't.
Jeans believes the center should be more centrally located in East Palestine and have a standardized list of what expenses are being reimbursed and at what level. Norfolk Southern says it's secured multiple leases for locations in downtown East Palestine and hopes to move its family center to one of those locations before the summer. As cleanup in East Palestine continues, Governor Mike DeWine is putting nearly $3 million toward resources helping recovery efforts after traumatic events. The money is going to the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, helping those affected by natural disasters, mass shootings, and other terrorist events, along with helping establish necessary statewide and local health resources. Governor Mike DeWine says the train derailment in East Palestine is a prime example of how disasters can impact communities. DeWine says he hopes the funds will address the healthcare needs of the state by strengthening Ohio's emergency preparedness.
A federal judge in North Dakota blocks a federal clean water rule in 24 states, including Ohio and West Virginia. U.S. District Judge Daniel Hovland blocked the rule from the U.S. Environmental Government Agency and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. He says the rule raises a litany of statutory and constitutional concerns and would cause great harm to the states. Opponents of the regulations say the rules protected by the Clean Water Act are an example of federal overreach and argue they would unfairly burden farmers. The EPA says they were reviewing the decision, but still believe the regulations were the best interpretation of the Clean Water Act.
Two 14-year-olds are in custody after allegedly stealing a school bus from an elementary school in Lawrence County. Lawrence County Sheriff Jeff Lawless says two teens left a mental health facility without permission on Friday. Lawless says the two then broke into Dawson Bryant Elementary School. Police say a laptop and an iPad were stolen. Fire extinguishers were emptied, followed by the pair stealing a school bus. The bus was found undamaged Saturday evening in Highland County, and the iPad and laptop were also recovered. The city of Belpre is receiving emergency medical services from a new nonprofit entity starting next month. Belpre City Council approved a 3-year contract with a nonprofit group after the city suspended an EMS service contract with the Belpre Volunteer Fire Department. Since then, surrounding area departments provide ambulance coverage. Belpre Mayor Mike Lorenz says officials are working to get the new service up and running as soon as possible.
The Southeast Ohio Food Bank, a program of Hocking-Athens Perry Community Action, is hosting a food distribution tomorrow at the Gallia County Fairgrounds. Fresh produce and other food items will be distributed from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. to families who are residents of Gallia County and are under 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. Pre-registration is required, so be sure to visit freshtrack.com to do so. Bring a photo ID and proof of residency no more than 60 days old.
Even though we're nearing the middle of spring, it's actually been feeling a lot like summer. As you can see here in Athens today, we had a hot one. It's 84 degrees right now. We've had some sunshine throughout the day, so that sunshine warmed us up quite a bit, and we've been looking at some clear skies. But we have been seeing some drier conditions for the past couple of days. In fact, we actually had a fire hazard warning here at Athens today because of those dry conditions. It dissipated a bit earlier this evening, but if these dry conditions continue into tomorrow, then we'll be experiencing the same warning. But I'll talk a little bit more about that in my full weather forecast. But let's take a look at the local radar here. We didn't see any precipitation here in Athens today. It has been a clear, dry day here. And as we take a look at our surrounding cities, across the board, we haven't been seeing any showers. And this has been going on for the past couple of days. So it has been very dry here in the area and some calm weather. But let's take a quick look at our local temperatures here. We're looking at a wide range of some higher 70s to some mid 80s here. So some hotter, warmer spring temperatures coming here. In Athens today, we're looking at 84 degrees. And as we move up north into Lancaster, 81, north into Columbus, 79. And as we move south into the Huntington area, we are looking at 84 degrees. But I'll talk about the future temperatures and what we'll be expecting in my full weather forecast.
Like Peyton said, warm temperatures are here to stay in Athens, and officials are warning people about open burning as drier conditions continue. The Ohio Division of Forestry issued a high fire danger in Athens, Gallia, Jackson, Lawrence, Meigs, Morgan, Perry, Vinton, and Washington counties. State law prohibits burning from 6 a.m. to 6 of heat and sparks while operating equipment or smoking outside. To inform its residents about fire danger, West Virginia launches a new wildfire reporting system. The Division of Forestry Daily Fire Report presents active and previous wildfire locations and information like how many acres were burned by the fire. Users can also see the time the fire took place, day of the week, and individual counties. The report launched Wednesday and is found on the West Virginia Division of Forestry website in the upper right-hand corner. Secretary James Bailey says the feature will help educate residents.
This is aimed to increase public awareness and promote the prevention of forest fires throughout the state.
Currently, many West Virginia areas face high fire risk, according to the West Virginia Department of Forestry website. Spring burning season is until May 31st, meaning statewide burning restrictions are in effect. Anyone responsible for causing a forest fire must reimburse the state the cost of extinguishing it.
The Ohio Constitution is caught in a tug of war. Republicans are making a push to make changes to the Constitution in Ohio, including the question of abortion. An influential mix of Republican politicians, lobbying organizations, and business interests are working to advocate for these changes. Ohio Right to Life president spoke on the issue, saying, quote, "This issue isn't just about abortion. This is about family farming. This is about small businesses. This is around Second Amendment rights, setting the minimum wage." Coming up after the break, the Biden administration declares fentanyl laced with xylazine an emergent threat. And a Massachusetts National Guardsman is under arrest in connection with the leaking of classified documents. These stories still ahead.
And it's been getting warmer the past couple of days, but should we expect some spring showers? Find out in my full weather forecast.
One of nature's greatest displays of might is the most iconic waterfall in the world. It's a force that shaped the region and created a natural realm unlike any other.
As you travel upriver, the modern world seems to fall away. It feels like a trip back in time.
Discover the many wonders of Niagara Falls.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
This was incredible.
On Finding Your Roots, actor Essie Pather Murkerson.
I've always wanted to know where we came from.
Film director Ava DuVernay.
Fascinating that your whole history is just blank.
And musician Questlove.
Until an hour ago, I didn't know who I was.
Slavery.
I'm blown away.
Impacts family history.
He's white.
In unexpected ways.
You hit the jackpot.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Once upon a time in Merry England, there lived a boy called Tom.
We've got time, but maybe Christian doesn't.
More resilience in the natural world must be the key.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
On episode 3 of La Frontera, I'm going back to the middle of the map and exploring from Arizona and Sonora to Chihuahua and New Mexico, where an architect is rethinking spaces to bring communities together. researchers placed cameras along the most biodiverse stretch of the border to get stunning pictures of wildlife. And I eat some famous Mennonite cheese that feels like I'm going back in time.
Monday at 9 on WOUB.
A new front in the battle against America's opioid crisis. Officials are seeing an alarming increase in the usage of the synthetic opioid fentanyl cut with an animal tranquilizer called xylazine.
And today, the Biden administration is now officially declaring the mix an emerging threat. Ivan Rodriguez explains what the historic declaration means.
A potentially deadly drug mix spreading across the U.S.
in almost all 50 states now.
Fentanyl cut with xylazine, the animal sedative, can do major damage to humans, leaving some users scared and wounded.
They removed 7 pounds of flesh and 1.5 liters of pus. It's been open for 21 months. That's how horrible it is. Trying to doesn't let your body heal.
For the first time since the passing of a 2018 law allowing it to do so, the Biden administration taking the unprecedented step of officially declaring a substance an emerging threat. It means some of President Biden's more than $46 billion drug budget request to Congress can be used to respond. The money could help pay for drug testing, data collecting, and developing treatments.
We're sending a clear message to producers and traffickers of illicit xylazine and illicit fentanyl that we're going to respond quicker.
An uphill battle in an ever-changing drug landscape.
Both the types of drugs have changed from predominantly organic to predominantly synthetics, but the way drugs are bought and sold have also changed. Now all you need is a phone in the palm of your hand and a social media app.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
National Drug Take-Back Day is coming up later this month. The Athens County Sheriff's Office is partnering with their SALT division, Walmart of Athens, clubs at Ohio University, as well as the Gloucester and Albany Police Departments. On April 22nd, deputies and volunteers will be set up at various locations in the county to collect excess prescription drugs in a safe and convenient way. For announcements, stay tuned to those confirmed locations.
There's a major development in the investigation into the leak of classified U.S. intelligence documents. Thursday afternoon, the FBI arrested a 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. Emily Schmidt is following the unfolding investigation from Washington.
In contrast to an alleged crime that started with quiet leaks of classified government information online, the arrest of a suspect unfolded publicly. News helicopters watched the FBI take a 21-year-old into custody outside his Massachusetts home.
Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information.
The U.S. Attorney General spoke for only about a minute, but the leak itself has been a top priority since the Defense Department became aware of it about a week ago.
We continue to work around the clock, along with the interagency and the intelligence community, to better understand the scope, scale, and impact of these leaks.
The government has said little directly about the suspect. People briefed on the investigation tell CNN the focus had narrowed to people who had access to the documents and the Discord social media group where documents were posted. They contain details about the war in Ukraine and intelligence on both U.S. adversaries and allies. So how could a 21-year-old potentially have gotten access to it? The Pentagon's deputy press secretary points out this is a criminal act he calls a willful violation.
If you locked your front door and somebody came into your house and took something, you followed your procedures and you locked your door, but somebody went in your house and took something and put it out on the street.
Jack Teixeira will make his first appearance in federal court Friday as the investigation continues and the Pentagon reviews who gets access to the country's secrets. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Former President Donald Trump is asked to answer questions in a civil case brought against him in New York. The lawsuit alleges that Trump and his children were involved in an expansive scheme lasting over a decade. The deposition is part of a high-stakes civil case brought on by New York Attorney General Letitia James last year. It says they provided false financial statements to lenders in order to enrich themselves. The Trumps have denied wrongdoing. The suit is seeking $250 million. It's also asking for a ban on the Trump's ability to operate a business in the state. It is unclear whether Mr. Trump will answer questions or plead the fifth during the deposition. The case is set for trial in October.
Now, it's been a while since we've seen the 80s, but today, Athens gave us a little taste of summer. As you can see here, we had a temperature high today of 81 degrees and a low of 51. So as the morning continued, the day went on, it got much warmer. And on top of that, it was mostly sunny, so that sunshine warmed us up. We had clear skies, and we've been seeing drier conditions for the past couple of days. In fact, we had a fire hazard warning earlier today that dissipated earlier this evening, but these dry conditions are expected to continue into tomorrow, so there is a possibility that we'll see this warning again. And again, we have been seeing dry conditions across the board here in Athens. We've seen no rainfall today or in any of our surrounding cities. Now, as we take a look at a wider scale here, we're seeing a similar thing. To the west of us here, we're seeing some light showers in the Indianapolis area, and down south, we're seeing some light to medium showers. But again, here in Athens, we haven't been seeing any of that. And a lot of that is because of this high pressure system lingering in our area, and that's going to continue into our evening tonight. We're going to have an overnight low of 51 degrees, some fresh temperatures tonight, and we're going to have some clouds roll in later. But as we take a look tomorrow, like I said, we're going to have those dry conditions continue into early afternoon tomorrow, and we're going to have a temperature high of 77 and a low of 54. So another cool morning, cool evening, but tomorrow afternoon, those dry conditions are going to dissipate, and we're going to have some rain start to come in. As you can see here, we're going to have some light showers tomorrow afternoon, and that's going to continue into tomorrow evening as this low pressure system crosses through our area and brings us some light winds and some light precipitation, and that's going to continue into Saturday. As you can see here, Saturday we're going to have some isolated thunderstorms. So some of our area is going to get hit and others are not going to be hit as heavy Saturday, and none of these storms are going to be severe. And on top of that, we're going to have a high of 78 degrees and a low of 56, so it's going to be a muggier day on Saturday. Now, as we take a look at Sunday, we're seeing a similar trend. It's going to be a high of 76 and a low of 41, and we're going to have some showers scattered throughout the day. But let's talk about this 41 for a second. Now, remember that as I prepare you for Monday, we're going to drop down to 56 degrees, and we haven't seen a number that low in quite some time, and a low of 37, and we're going to continue to see that precipitation on Monday, some scattered showers. But as we move into Tuesday here, we're going to take a brief break in the precipitation. We're going to have a partly sunny day with a high of 62 and a low of 37, so it's going to warm up a little bit again. And as we move into Wednesday, it's going to continue to warm up. We're going to get to 72 degrees and a low of 35, and it's going to be partly sunny again. And on Thursday, we're going to have some scattered clouds, and we're going to warm up to 75 and a low of 52. So this weekend, we're going to have some rainy spring-like conditions, but remember, next week, it's going to clear up quite a bit.
Thanks, Peyton. Roads are impassable, and many residents are trapped in their homes after a historic rain event paralyzed parts of Florida for hours. Crews are still working to clear roads and assessing the damage, but more rain is expected to hit the area this evening. Gloria Pazmino has more.
Historic flooding in South Florida Wednesday.
What we're seeing here is a 1,000-year incident. No city could have planned for this.
The city of Fort Lauderdale paralyzed.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, you can see how shooken up I am, you know. I didn't plan on waking up like this.
I've been working in Fort Lauderdale for over 23 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
Residents taking in the damage after spending the night stranded in their homes.
Yeah, we lost everything.
More than 25 inches of rain fell in just 24 hours, according to preliminary reports from the National Weather Service, marking the rainiest day in Fort Lauderdale history.
All right, I'm gonna go back and get your mommy and daddy, all right, bud?
First responders out in force, wading through waist-high water to help trapped residents and motorists.
I've been stuck here now for about 40 minutes. So I've been watching the cars thinking I could make it, but I've had the car stall in water before, and so I'm just like, I'll just hang out.
At Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, a ground stop Wednesday, then closure. Stranded travelers trying to navigate as runways turned into lakes.
Trying to get back home,
and they're telling us that the airport is closed, and so at this point we don't know what to do.
The airport will remain closed through Thursday. Officials plan to reopen it at 5 a.m. Friday. The National Weather Service is calling the floods a 1 in a 1,000-year event or greater, and more rain is expected later today. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Inflation is slowing down, why some economists are still sounding alarms. That story's still ahead. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of securities is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
One of nature's greatest displays of might is the most iconic waterfall in the world. It's a force that shaped the region and created a natural realm unlike any other.
As you travel upriver, the modern world seems to fall away. It feels like a trip back in time.
Discover the many wonders of Niagara Falls.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
On episode 3 of La Frontera, I'm going back to the middle of the map and exploring from Arizona and Sonora to Chihuahua and New Mexico, where an architect is rethinking spaces to bring communities together. Researchers place cameras along the most biodiverse stretch of the border to get stunning pictures of wildlife. And I eat some famous Mennonite cheese that feels like I'm going back in time.
Monday at 9 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Once upon a time in Merry England, there lived a boy called Tom. We've got time, but maybe Christian doesn't.
More resilient in the natural world must be the key.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
Some positive economic news. U.S. annual inflation has fallen to the lowest level since May of 2021. A new report finds U.S. consumer prices are continuing to cool down, but one economist says prices for some sectors are not moving in a favorable direction. Patrick Cornell has more.
A step forward in the ongoing battle over rising prices. A new Bureau of Labor Statistics report out Wednesday shows U.S. annual inflation is down to the lowest level since May 2021, but economists are cautiously optimistic.
There's a lot of things that are hitting consumers that are still showing a very elevated level of inflation.
It shows consumer prices rose in March by 5% year over year. That's down from 6% in February, and it marks the 9th straight month of slowing inflation. The rate of price increases has been cooling since it hit a 4-decade high last summer. Economists say the real challenge for consumers is that the rate is still a long way away from the Federal Reserve's target, which could signal more action from the Fed may be ahead.
That's why the debate around the Fed is about, well, how long time is it now going to take before we will get inflation all the way down to that 2% target.
And the main issue is that core inflation, which strips out food and energy costs. Those numbers remain high. They're up 5.6% year over year. That means higher rents, housing, and other costs.
If you look at cost of transportation, that went up. If you also look at airline ticket prices, also went up. If you look at the cost of housing, still very elevated.
The latest report is adding to the debate around what the Fed will do at their next meeting, either pause interest rate hikes or increase them to further cool down the overheated economy. For Consumer Watch, I'm Patrick Cornell.
The next Federal Reserve meeting is scheduled for May 2nd.
As inflation begins to slow down, West Virginia sees its third consecutive year of export growth. Governor Jim Justice says West Virginia's export market grew over to a value of over $7 billion, according to the U.S. Census Bureau's recent trade statistics. The state's largest export, coal. Coal from West Virginia across the globe, going to countries like Netherlands, India, and Brazil. Coal exports totaled almost $4 billion, Plastic exports were the second most significant export product with a value of over $1 billion. Justice says the state's continued growth in exports showcases the incredible strength of West Virginia's economy and is proof the state is not only competitive in global markets, but growing. After the break, one of the remnants of an exploded star is caught on camera. Stay tuned to WOUB, and here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Coming up on the next Song of the Mountains.
Rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Gonna lay around the shack till the mail train comes back and roll in my sweet baby's arms.
Those stones will come a-crashing when Jesus swings the reckon.
Lively performances where old tradition meets new, here on Song of the Mountains.
Thursday at 8 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Once upon a time in Merry England, there lived a boy called Tom. We've got time, but maybe Christian doesn't.
More resilient in the natural world must be the key.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
One of nature's greatest displays of might is the most iconic waterfall in the world. It's a force that shaped the region and created a natural realm unlike any other.
As you travel upriver, the modern world seems to fall away. Feels like a trip back in time.
Discover the many wonders of Niagara Falls.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
On episode 3 of La Frontera, I'm going back to the middle of the map and exploring from Arizona and Sonora to Chihuahua and New Mexico, where an architect is rethinking spaces to bring communities together. Researchers placed cameras along the most biodiverse stretch of the border to get stunning pictures of wildlife. And I eat some famous Mennonite cheese that feels like I'm going back in time.
Monday at 9 on WOUB.
Finally tonight, the James Webb Space Telescope has captured colorful, never-before-seen details in one of the most well-observed remnants of an exploded star. The glowing gas and dust of Cassiopeia is all that remains of that star. It exploded in a supernova, and its light reached Earth for the first time 340 years ago. Cassiopeia is the youngest known supernova remnant in our galaxy, located 11,000 light-years away. The new infrared image has been translated into visible light so the human eye can see the remnant's colors. A bright green loop captured in the image has also captured the interest of researchers. They gave it the nickname Green Monster in honor of Fenway Park in Boston.
And it's going to cool down a little bit later tonight. We're looking at an overnight low of 51 degrees, and those clouds aren't going to start to roll in until a little bit past midnight. And as we take a look at tomorrow, we're going to be back into the 70s, a temperature high of 77 and a low of 54. So we're going to have a cooler morning, but we are going to see some showers later on tomorrow afternoon into the evening. And as we move into the weekend, we're going to be seeing some storms Saturday and Sunday. But next week, as we get into Tuesday, it's going to start to warm up and clear up again. I hope you enjoy this weekend and get outside while it's starting to look like spring again.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching from all of us here at Newswatch. I'm Reese Thompson.
And I'm Juliana Colant. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC.